I think he's going to run for office in South
When
Africa.
I- no,
Can
I
I
would-
tell you,
that's
I
my
told
goal.
him that the
Trevor's gonna
first
be
time
president.
I
No,
met
no, no,
him.
no, no, no.
Trevor's
Trevor,
going to
you
be the
won't
president
remember
of
this,
South
but I
Africa.
said, so what? You're going to go home and run for office?
No.
And you went,
he's going to be
what?
He's going to be president
No.
of South Africa. Zelensky used to be a comedian.
Yes, and look at his life now.
Okay,
Look at his
maybe
life
not
now.
Maybe not a good example.
This is What Now with Trevor Noah. Well, all right. You ready to play some If I Ruled the World?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. This is one of my favorite games to play with people. And there are a few people in the world who are more my favorites than Tressie McMillan Cottom.
Tressie.
I'll tell you why. So what I love about playing the game If I Ruled the World is oftentimes we think about the world in a gradual way. And I think sometimes as people, we get bogged down in what we perceive possibility to be.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I love playing the game for myself and for other people because I think it's good to remind ourselves that everything is possible if you don't think that it's impossible, and you cannot even get to it if you think it's not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's impossible to fly. But someone goes like, but maybe it isn't, and then one day you're flying, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know. And not everything is possible, but everything's impossible if you don't try to get there. So If I Ruled the World is a very simple game that we play. Everyone gets a chance to say what they would do if they ruled the world. And when I mean ruled the world, don't get bogged down. Don't worry about bureaucracy. Don't worry about like people coming after you, not coming after you. Don't worry about voting. Everyone develops
They're
amnesia.
gonna love you.
Yeah.
No, they
Okay.
develop amnesia.
Okay.
So they won't go, but it used to be like this. No,
Yeah.
it is not like that.
Okay.
Right? Your goal is to get the other two people on this podcast
To vote for
To
you.
vote for you.
there's a
Okay, I
vote,
didn't
Tressie.
know it was a competition part. That
It's not a
actually
competition.
didn't come
No, it's not a competition.
Yes, it is. You just said there's voting
No,
involved.
it's not a competition.
Okay.
It's not a competition.
You have to vote.
It's not a
Just
competition.
to see the merits of the idea.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Trevor's ideas rarely win. So don't feel like
They've never won.
They
Yeah,
just
they
do
No,
that
not
to keep
really
you
win.
You've won
humble.
before.
No, they've never won.
Trevor.
I don't think they've ever won.
No.
I don't mind
I
that.
think Josh, I've had an idea win. Josh,
Yeah,
has
you've
a
won.
couple.
Yeah, you've
Ben
won.
made us have a day off.
Yeah, Ben, we went with, but I think Josh hasn't won either. It's not
I'm
that's-
surprised by that.
It's not about
Josh
winning.
has
Yo,
some
Josh has
ideas,
crazy
but, like,
ones.
And stuff he's never tried. Once he was
you
like,
love Josh.
everyone do streams. We're like, Josh, have you done
He's
streams?
so
No.
cute.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Josh
So,
has some.
He's so cute.
Josh has some crazy ones where you're like, wait, Josh, what? Like, what was Josh? One of Josh's last ones was he thinks that in your like sentencing or in how you get punished in society, pettiness should be
through
exempt.
power, yeah. No, petty is power.
Yeah, no,
Like, the
but yeah,
pettier you are.
no, it was like pettiness should be exempt essentially. So he said, like, for instance, if you committed a crime or did something to someone, but it was because of pettiness, you shouldn't be punished.
Yeah.
Okay, a pettiness pass.
It's like
It
okay.
was, Trevor told us not to be polite. He was like, let's get rid of customer service. Or was it politeness?
I don't think I would have said that.
It was something along those
No,
lines.
I
was
think
it?
I think mine was I said like your aptitude should not be measured by your affable nature.
Yeah, that was it.
That's what I was saying. I was like,
that was it.
people should not go, you are a good president because you
you're
can
nice.
speak well or because
Yeah.
no.
Oh no, I
People
agree
should
with
not
you
say
on
you're a
that.
good waiter or waitress because you
Yeah.
are you're nice to the
friendly you are,
people.
yeah.
Customer service, just do the thing. Don't even ask me how my day is what I was saying.
And I was like, I want how was your day?
British people.
Oh,
Because I don't
that
get
is
that in
pretty.
England.
Yeah.
I don't get like,
This is
very
what
American,
she
like,
came
oh,
here
hey,
with her
man, how are you?
traumatized.
Yeah,
How's
and they're
your
all
day?
and they're like, Americans are so nice.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, I
I'm
know
very
where you're
charmed by it.
from.
Yes,
So,
she was willing to trade
Okay.
incompetence for being nice.
I was.
So that's how the game works.
Okay.
We'll go in it. We discuss it, as much, and people will challenge you, and you tell us why you think it's
Yeah.
good. Remember, you state your case. You tell us why you think this will work. We ask a few questions, and then we vote.
Okay.
And as I say, it's not about winning,
Mm-hmm.
even though Christiana has won. It's just about us
Taking part.
Yeah,
Have
us.
I ever mentioned my competitive nature? I'm not proud
I mean,
of it.
you're MacArthur, Genius Grant, New York Times.
Yeah, we've never played this game with a
best-selling
genius.
Sociologist. We kind of
Okay.
we gleaned it.
Okay, all right. So how do we want to start? Who wants to start?
Well, ladies
Do you want to go
first
second?
and guests
Yes.
first.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoa, we're going Tressie first.
Oh no, I'll go first.
You go
Let's do
first.
it.
You go
I'll
first. You go
Okay.
first. All right.
All right. So if I ruled the world in my crypto-fascist state, I would put a restriction on the amount a person is allowed to contribute to the public discourse in text. So you have a limited amount of words
Shots fired.
per month. You can contribute to and it doesn't matter the platform.
Every time I think I know how crazy Christiana is, This woman surprises
I
you.
have
Wow.
thought this through, guys.
Keep going.
We
Okay.
need to put there's freedom of speech in the real world, but when it comes to freedom of text, there is restriction.
Freedom of
There is
text.
not freedom of text.
This
Okay,
curve out freedom of text. That's
This is
interesting.
interesting. So
Yeah.
okay.
Remember that the white man said the pen is mightier than the sword
Okay.
for a
Yes.
reason.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. And that guy was stabbed by the sword afterwards. But okay, I have a question, but I mean, please.
Okay, how are you going to? Because arguably everything now is text, right?
Yeah.
This is one of the things. Is there any ranking or sorting for like what one contributes with the
I don't
text?
care about the-
I ask out of obvious personal interest.
You could be a MacArthur Wingen sociologist.
I was wondering
You could
if
be
that's
a-
what you meant.
You could be a sociologist.
Mm.
You could be
so
a comedian.
everybody has the same amount of words.
See, because I am also a socialist, so I believe in
Yeah.
equality,
Yeah, I do
and I'm a
too.
communist, so it's free. I'm not charging you
Yeah.
for the number
This
of words.
is wild.
However, there is a restriction. There is a limit. There is a limit
Okay,
on the
before-
amount you can
before-
contribute to the public
Okay.
discourse.
Maybe to Tressie's question in a way, like, is it like an actual limit of like an amount of words?
Yeah, words.
Okay, so
Number of
actual words we count.
Number of
So
words.
and counts the same as like the
Yeah.
word compulsion.
It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
you're
I don't care
also
about that.
getting at my
Yes,
Yes, see,
number
I
of
try
words.
to say a lot in a little, but you're saying
Okay.
Well, and the great thing is, it'll make you pithier.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
word count.
Uh-huh.
Word
Okay, so
count.
you're basically putting a word count.
Because I believe men shouldn't say more than 400 words a day.
Again, fair enough. And
Why is a man saying?
And let me tell you,
my husband
why-
starts about
why
350.
are all
I
these
try to get him to
words?
talk more, and he's like,
no, I'm good.
my husband
Oh,
don't want to
man.
say
You married
nothing.
well.
Yeah, he don't want to say more, and he's like, why should I talk? There's nothing
Okay.
to say.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah,
so
there-
that's the limit.
yeah,
And then what happens if you go above that?
Yeah.
You just
Fine.
can't.
fine.
A fine.
A fine.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, now
Okay,
see, that
okay.
can become a tax, though.
No, it's a fine weighted to your income. Because let me tell you this story I
Okay,
heard about Donatella
okay.
Versace. She was smoking under a no smoking sign, and they said, Miss Versace,
That's
you
right.
can't smoke there.
I
And she
hear
said,
you.
just tell me what the fine is.
That's right.
So the
That's
fine
right.
has to be weighted to your
That's
income.
right, because in
Punitive.
economics,
The
there's this
Versace
idea
amendment.
that
I like this.
some people fine is just a tax. and I'll
Yeah,
just pay
so
it.
it's punitive.
Okay.
So I don't believe in a carceral state, so I'm not going to throw you in prison. But what I'm going to say,
See, yours gets complicated because of that abolition thing.
right?
Mm.
Well, now I kind of do believe in prison, but that's
Okay, so you get fined, and it's a proportion of your net worth.
it's weighted.
Yeah, it's
to,
weighted to how much you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Right.
okay. Another question I have is, oh man,
It doesn't compel you to contribute to the public discourse.
no, I
right?
understand.
Is it? And it's cumulative. It's like life course. Like I start out.
No,
with
every
a bucket
month
of
you
words.
say in your month you get
Okay.
like 800 words. Or
Okay, so
whatever.
it is weighted to like your lifespan.
but
Yes.
do you, but does it?
non-cumulative.
So it doesn't accumulate over time. So
No,
like-
it resets.
I can't save
Wait, it
all
resets?
mine
It
up.
resets at the beginning of every month.
so there's no books.
No, I'm talking about the
Oh.
public discourse. I'm talking about online in terms of
Oh,
what you put
okay.
on-
You're saying only online.
online. I'm talking about because and I'm going to give you the thinking behind this.
Yes.
Our big political events of the last 10 years have been heavily shaped and manipulated by online behavior.
I agree.
For good or for bad, it's been online.
I agree.
And some people have had an outsized influence on it, whereas some other people haven't. And it's been these fringes. So I just think, cap it.
The podcast bros are gonna come for you.
Well, they'll just be on the mic more. They'll speak more.
Do you see the perverse incentives there?
This
So
is a
now
tough
the
one.
men will go from writing a whole bunch of words and throwing them at me to speaking them.
I mean,
at
they already
me.
have the mic, so we're
Well,
already
that's
there.
what we should be going after, the mics.
Yeah, I'm gonna. This is a no for me because I don't think you're solving the issue you're trying to solve. So, understanding how a lot of the social discourse has been shaped in America and around the world, I think is very important for people. We really saw this around Black Lives Matter, right? Most people still do not know that most of the memes and the tweets and the posts that they saw came from Russia. Right? Now, I'm not saying this as like a Hillary and the Russia. No. I'm just saying on like a very simple level. They found a lever that they could pull in the same way North Korea has focused on hacking crypto.
Yes.
Like North Korea, most people don't even like know this. North Korea has gone on like a very concerted mission to hack crypto
Training,
wallets around the
big
world.
farms, that's right. Yeah.
And they've gone, oh, this money's untraceable, but it's usable everywhere and it's really powerful. And when you steal it, no one can come after you.
That's right.
So North Korea's gone out. They steal tons of crypto everywhere in the world, and no one can like do anything about it because you can't like really prove it's them, and they can use it. You can't like stop them. Okay. the same thing happened in and around social media. There were all these farms that were produced in and around Russia, and even in like parts of Ukraine, if my memory serves me correctly, right? And like basically what they did was they just came after Americans, and they did it as simply as this. Every issue, they created a meme or a post, a binary, both ways, and they just shot them out.
Okay.
They just shot them out. Here's why the police are coming after you. Here's why they're trying to kill the police. Here's why black people are the worst thing. Here's why black people are the best thing. That's all they did. They diagnosed an issue correctly, by the way, but then they really inflamed the tension. So the issue I worry about on your side is you may stop people who maybe post a lot or write a lot online, but then they will create a world of people who gets to like sort of outspeak them, because how are you shutting them down? Like they'll even like, I can even just think of a simple one. Elon could just buy people to say his thing.
Which is what he has effectively done. That's what I was going to say. This is like a
So now how-
for the Twitterization of everything.
Oh, that's a good point.
So
I
we
didn't think
saw
about
this
that.
arc with Twitter, to your point, because that's what Elon knew or figured out or saw happen with Twitter. He realized that there was a real moment. People kind of forget this moment. There's a real moment of fear, governments across this country when the Arab Spring happened. That yes, somehow social media had shifted the balance of power towards a democratization of voices who could influence people's beliefs. And immediately there was a technological solution to that. Who said, no problem, we will just make 50 trillion bots, right? Train on our behavior because text is easily manipulated to make it sound like a person. This is what you see happen.
These are good points, but I believe I could create, not myself, but hire someone to create the technology to eliminate bots.
No, but let's say no bots. I'm saying they would buy people. So what I'm saying is you could easily then say, okay, as Trevor, I've finished my 800-word count, but I want to like wait the election. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay, hey, have you used your 800 count? Thank you, I'll take that. And actually, here, just post this.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
In fact, have you seen some of the more interesting music campaigns that are being run now? So music used to be a very different game in that like the way you would get an artist to blow up was really defined by the labels for the most part. They told a radio station, play this person.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll give you the resources, play this person. And that's how you became a star. Things started changing with streaming, with social media, with all of that, because now labels couldn't dictate it the same way. But they have found something that's been really effective now, and that is, and I think Drake did this for his latest album.
Yes,
it's pretty
I've heard
brilliant.
of it, yeah.
They've gone out to everyone online. Not just like quote unquote influencers. They got you join this platform. I forget the name of the platform. And essentially it sells the services of just the people online. And what happens is I can come on there and say, as Trevor, I have a campaign that I want to launch. I have $10,000 and I pay it to this service. The service then goes out to everyone who's signed up to it, who's just a regular person online, and says to them, hey,
Play the song.
find a way to play the song, find a way to make this campaign go viral, and we pay you per view. So you don't pay people who failed. It's not like putting up a billboard on the highway and hoping people respond. No, you now go, oh, wow, that was an amazing dance Christiana did. She got 2 million views on that. We now pay her for the 2 million views. And then Tressie did something, it didn't catch on, so we don't really pay her for that. And so you are paying for performance. But what it does, though, is it creates a false idea of what trends
It's popular. That's right.
because now you've paid people to make a trend, and because everyone's trying to chase the money, it makes it seem like there's a trend when there is no trend. And so I'm saying people could pay.
Can I put an addendum?
What
Of
I
course.
love about the music example, I just want to say this. They borrowed that from politics.
I did not know that.
The political influencer model, starting under Barack Obama, it started to mature later, was exactly that. Make this go viral, make this candidate seem inevitable.
Oh, wow.
Trump just did it better and at scale. He seems inevitable with a minority of the voters because he uses audience, influencers, to, there's this wonderful piece, I think in the New York Times like a week ago about this sort of like hidden influencer economy of politics and how Trump is like just bypassing the media altogether and going straight to this. And it is embedded in the White House press machine. This has gone mainstream. Music was actually late. We did this in politics already.
Okay, so I have an addendum then.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you are found to be buying somebody's text,
Okay.
or if you accept payment for it, prison.
Okay. So you did put prison back on the table.
Prison's back on the table.
See? See how fast that happens, by the way?
I know. It's so sad.
It is human nature.
I was like, what else going to do? Can I make a bigger fine?
I got this excellent plan, but
yeah.
Okay, so if people
Humans-
buy other people's...
No, I'm just about basically creating disincentives for purchasing somebody's vote. Just in the same way, like in a lot of countries, there is a cap on how much you can donate. You can
To a
spend,
campaign.
or you can actually spend on a political campaign.
Yes.
Right? So then it just means that like their big money in politics doesn't happen.
Okay, and just remind me one more time. The reason you're doing this is because...
I think people talk too much online, myself included.
Okay.
I think that some people contribute to the discourse more than they should. And I think it's like, it gets you out there to go and talk to people in real life.
Okay, I'm ready to vote. Tressie, are you ready to vote?
I am ready to vote.
Okay. Your vote is?
Oh.
No, it's fine.
I was going to go with the consensus.
No.
No, okay. This is back to my accurate diagnosis.
Yeah.
But, right?
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly with trying to, because what you're essentially saying, you want to take the attention economy out of the discourse because it's ruined it.
Yeah.
I am there 150%. I think you got to go straight to jail because I
Okay.
think if you got any middle ground, people are going to game it. So based on that, I'm going to vote no.
Okay.
Okay.
Trevor's voting no. I already know that.
Yeah, I'm definitely voting no.
And
But I
also
mean-
self-interest. I'm one of those people with a lot
Yeah,
of the
you lost
words.
Tressie. As soon as you said
I gotta
words,
tell you.
when you said words,
tough.
I was like, wow.
Tressy's like, you're coming for my check.
Yes.
You said words. So okay.
Tressie, you're not even on Twitter anymore.
That's true.
No, but okay.
Tressie does lives more.
Yes, but
She
okay.
does lives
Let
more.
me explain why I'm voting no, though. Just so the reason I'm voting no is because I'm sat across from somebody who I consider one of the greatest luminaries in this space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it's fair that us idiots can say more than people like that.
Oh, see, that's why I disagree.
No. I mean this honestly. So I think sometimes the numbers shouldn't always be right because numbers are dangerous. Like mobs are numbers, but mobs are not
But
necessarily
Trevor,
right.
my issue is that the experts like Tressie
Yes.
are actually receding from the public discourse. I have lots of friends who are authors, like all
No,
sorts of
I
thinkers
please don't get me wrong.
the idiots are the ones who
Yes,
are
yes.
the loudest voices right now.
I'm with you completely, and that's why I say to
And
you,
it may bring the Tressies back to the internet, to the
I'm
public square. the digital
completely with
square.
you. I always say this to you with love and understanding. I vote no, not because I disagree with what you've identified, but because I don't believe that this is the right way for us to solve it. And so my vote is also going to be a no.
Accept it. These were actually good notes. These were
Your
good
next
notes.
plan is coming hard, is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're saying.
I'm gonna refine it, but these were good
Yeah,
notes. I didn't spot.
So
the blind.
taxing the microphones again. I'm going to put that back on the table for you to consider.
You know what? I'm different. I kind of like the podcast. Bros. I don't like their content, but they just give us insight into the male psyche that I would otherwise never have.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
It's a nice way to look
like,
at it.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, this is how men really think, because men don't really talk in that way.
But don't they though?
I avoid them, so I don't.
Okay.
It's because I avoid them. It's 'cause I-
Okay, all right. Let me be the man who then talks.
Okay.
I'll give you a little insight into my world. We're going to continue this conversation right after this short break. All right. Okay, if I ruled the world, I would abolish quarterly earnings that companies report on. And I would probably extend it even further than like companies wouldn't be able to report on their earnings for like maybe like a few years actually. Like no reporting at all from any company. They wouldn't be, they'd just be like, we just
So
run.
like the SP 500, we wouldn't know what's going on with those.
Yeah, no,
companies.
you wouldn't know their earnings. Like, so you know, like right now it's quarterly.
Yeah.
Quarterly earnings
Yeah,
report.
like
It's
Chrysler
gone.
made 300
No
billion
more
or
quarterly
the-
earnings. And I would even extend it to maybe like 2 to 3 years, maybe. Like every 3 years they could report their earnings. Right?
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. In my mind, I think we can draw a direct line between quarterly earnings and the destruction of most things society has held near and dear.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you on that.
I think the shitification of everything, as I call it,
Yeah.
I greatly attribute to quarterly earnings because the quarterly earnings has made it so that every CEO of every major company has to make sure that the reporting that they do 4 times a year shows that the company's making more money and is more profitable. 4 times a year, you have to do this. And because you have to do this, and because it affects the share price and your job as a CEO, your incentive is now to make sure that every quarter your company makes more money than it made in the previous quarter, or the money is going up, versus looking at the long-term prospects of the company, the employees, and the thing that you're actually trying to do in the world. And so when I look at every service, I am yet to find a company that became a better version of itself once it went public.
Oh, strong agree.
Right? I genuinely have yet to see an
why
example
don't
of
you
that.
ban IPOs?
So I thought about this. I thought about like why not ban publicly listing and all of this thing. So I do think from the little, because I went and asked some of the people who work in Wall Street and all of this, and they said there is a major advancement that we should never take for granted that came from allowing people to collectively come in to build something even though they weren't there. Right? So I can see the value in that and I can understand it. And I was like, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to just be like, ban all, IPOs and ban, some people would say that, ban it all. I can see why.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be against banning it, but I think there would be a second system effect that I can't predict right now. So what I would say is I would just ban the reporting of how much money people have made.
Trevor, people are going to steal so much money. I would steal money.
I have to do everything in my power to not say anything.
Are you going to say something about Nigerians?
I didn't say it.
He's going to say something about Nigerians.
I didn't say anything.
Each of you right now.
I didn't say anything. I didn't want to say anything.
He wants to say something
Your
about
first
Nigerians.
thought
was, I could see where I could get some money out of that.
Your first thought, Christiana, was that I'm not going to say anything.
I think on an accounting level, if we look at like Enron and all of that stuff,
Okay.
the lack of public accountability that's transparent may take us to a place that is quite dangerous, right? And now, I as much as I am a socialist that has quite a bit of money in the market.
There comes the champagne with the socialism.
I was just about to say,
Listen, I got
right
3
on
kids.
time.
They got these 529 accounts.
I hear you.
They're playing with the money.
Yeah.
I want to know whether I should be holding or whether I should be letting things go.
Okay.
And I think, unfortunately, because of the way this country is set up, the West now, before your house used to be the thing, you could just have a house and you were okay.
Yeah.
Right.
They have forced us to put our money in the market.
Everything's the asset
And
economy.
most of us would like to know what's happening to it every quarter. And I don't think that's a ridiculous thing.
I think the downside of you knowing is worse for the general public. So here's what I understand what you're saying. And I still say, remember, there's still ramifications in my world. So if people are corrupt and all that, we will still catch them. They will just be caught later. They still have to report.
Yeah,
But
so
then
he's
your
saying it
money's
would
gone.
be
Look
every
what
2
happened to Enron.
But
Yes,
your
I
money's
understand
going to be
I
gone
understand
regardless.
That's
I think
what I'm
is Trevor's
saying.
point.
So I'm saying I understand the guardrails you're trying to put in place.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if we look at, I believe most companies are not run corruptly. Most CEOs are not stealing the money.
Yeah.
Most. I always go with that. You know me. I believe in general good.
Yeah.
So I think the risk that we're willing to take for a few, because we will punish them severely when they are found.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? So the company will no longer exist. The people will never be allowed to work in another company.
Oh, no, now that's a good
Like there's major
borrowing from the economy.
No, it's finished.
Nice.
You are gone.
Yeah.
If you are busted in any Enron type thing, you are never doing anything businessy again. Facebook Marketplace, don't even join it. It's gone forever. You are out of everythingness. That's like my remedy for it. Like you can go work for a very simple, like you can be a cobbler.
Yeah.
But good luck being
looking
in
for
anything.
a good cobbler too.
We're running out of them, by the way.
Bring
We're running out
back
of
the
them.
trades.
It could
Bring
push
back
some
the
people
trades.
into
We're gonna
where
push
they
people into
should
the
have
trades.
been.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my real concern is similar to myself, that you have identified a problem, like which is this need for relentless profit and CEOs juicing up the company to serve shareholders rather than making good stuff. Because I don't think some companies need to grow forever. I think it's okay just to be your size.
It's unending growth, right?
However, I don't think whether you do quarterly earnings or annual earnings, that will really change.
But I'm saying you can
incentive
see it on the
system.
graph, though. If you go back and look at this, like once it really became a thing, because it wasn't always a thing, and once quarterly earnings, you see the jump.
So I think the issue here is the way that quarterly earnings have changed our understanding of the world, even if you aren't in the market.
Yes.
right?
That's
Which
what
I
I'm-
agree
that's
is
what
a
I'm saying.
huge
So-
problem. I think this is like something you said to me once, by the way, Christiana, which I love now using, which is it gives you this like casino economy.
That's
effect,
exactly what I
right?
mean.
That you're
Yeah.
constantly in a cycle of risk and loss. And
That's what I mean.
You're
Yes.
chasing both the dopamine and the possibility.
And it's making people
and it's-
think things are
most of it's
worse or
manufactured.
better, or when it's, but it's
That's
not.
right.
It's too.
It's not a sign of quality.
It's like judging a roller coaster on every different slope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Listen, I'm on Schwab.com all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and
what I'm
I think
saying.
part of your tension is that also happened at the same time. The quarterly earnings,
Yes.
the change in our understanding of the world happened at the same time that all of a sudden we were all forced into the market. Because the problem is our houses shouldn't be assets.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to do our retirement accounts. We shouldn't even have these 529s.
Yeah.
Your baby should just go to school.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to like now get ourselves out of the mindset of, well, without that quarterly information,
Yeah.
how will I provide
Companies
and
don't have
protect my
pensions.
assets?
Companies don't have pensions anymore.
So
like, people
kind
are
of
having
what
to
would
do it
need to
themselves.
happen in Trevor's scenario is basically a form of government that we used to have. You got to have a social safety net. With
Oh
what
no!
you're talking about.
No! Yeah. This
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Because how are you going to push people out of the first thing you
Yes.
say to most Americans now is, no, I need to know what's happening with my 401k.
Yes.
And
People do
that's
love
the
that.
problem. Yeah, they love the 401k. The 401k is actually where I might say your problem originated more so than the quarterly earnings. Because that made all of us care.
Yeah.
Once we had to do a 401k, everybody cared. And we're not supposed to care.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Is it time to vote?
I do have some, I could obviously talk about this so long. There are lots of second order issues that I would need to work out. Is a half vote a thing?
No.
No.
Oh,
You can't half vote for Hillary or Trump.
I tried. Just like I tried just now. Okay. Ooh. I just don't think the downsides are significant enough. I actually think, because this is one of those things where it has existed before. So that means it's not like it's some weird alternate universe.
Yeah.
We know we can live quite fine with yearly earnings. So because of that, I'm going to vote yes, believe it or not.
We have a yes.
We have a yes.
I'm going to vote no, and not because I don't think it's a good idea. My personal level of anxiety, there isn't
Yeah.
enough Zoloft in the world that can make me be like,
We got to take your apps away.
oh yeah, Trevor says that all the time.
Yeah, I think
Trevor-
something's happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think, and I think for a lot of regular people who are unfortunate because of 401ks and
so
all
this is
stuff.
okay. I have some of the
Yeah.
information here. So quarterly earnings reports became a standardized requirement in the United States in 1970.
Yeah.
When the SEC introduced Form 10Q as part of its filing system. The mandate formalized the practice. And I think it was because of a crash at some point. Because before,
was the 70s,
prior
it
to
probably
1970,
was.
some companies provided some quarterly updates voluntarily, but they were inconsistent.
Okay.
And then it really became like a big deal.
So really, it was for like standardization.
Yes.
Like it's something that
And
started-
regulation,
Yeah, it was
'cause
something
SEC
good.
was
Yes, but
growing
to your
its power
point,
to
it was because
regulate.
of a crash, and people were like, okay, we don't want this to happen
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
but then, to my point, there was another crash.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
We
point
went
that out.
quarterly and
Trevor,
kept having
there's something
crashes.
to the idea, but I just think it would give just regular people a lot of anxiety.
No,
about
but
what
why?
their money
But
is
why
doing.
would that anxiety would be based on the fact that they knew there was another way before? Don't forget amnesia. That's our rules.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah,
There was no
that is
Christiana's
true.
amnesia.
I forgot about that
Don't
part.
forget
and
that
it's
part.
important.
The people don't know that there was quarterly.
That
they
there was
don't
any
know
other way.
I'm saying I'm taking it away completely. It has
Oh, now,
never been.
Tressie, you've got me on the half vote. Maybe we
See,
should
I told y'all this is
I'm
the
just
problem
saying.
here. We need half votes.
um
Actually, I may change mine to that,
no,
by the way.
No,
Half
because people like me will still. So yeah.
votes. Okay.
Wow.
We come back to human nature. You
Human
like
nature.
Wow.
this has actually been at the heart of a lot of our comments. Like, do you just think this is a human
Wow.
nature
Human nature, yeah.
problem? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm.
Well, another no for me, which I'm used
And
to.
you got a yes?
I did actually.
you
I
did.
got a
I
very
don't-
valuable
and,
yes.
and also, my no didn't come from a place of hate where it
Yep.
usually comes from.
That's
it
true,
came from a
actually.
place of just like,
Yeah. This one was different because
Yeah.
normally you go like, I hate that idea, but here you went. You blamed
Yeah.
yourself.
I said
which
I
I'll
hate
take.
myself, which is very different.
Okay.
That's progress.
Okay, I'll take it. Don't go anywhere because we got more What Now after this.
Okay.
This is it. Drum roll, please.
Because you guys don't know this, but you foreshadowed mine.
Oh, that's beautiful. Actually, then
and it
it's a
took
perfect
lot
journey.
for me not to say anything because I was like, but I think my argument will be stronger than the statement. So here we go.
Okay.
If I ruled the world, there would be a national job corps for customer service jobs. Everybody would be conscripted into working in customer service for some period of time in their life for them to go on to the rest of the labor market. And let me tell you why. We have talked about Job Corps before, about like going and doing the jobs that matter to the economy, but it's not the jobs our economy actually does, right? This is a customer service, this is a service-based economy. And what's happened in that, I think has helped fuel, by the way, political polarization, is depending on how much money or status you have, you can buy your way out of having to engage with customer service to get the stuff you need. You know it. How many of us go to the airport now and I do. I bypass all of the lines, and if they come up with a new tier, I'm getting that one too.
You're damn right.
I want out
TSA,
all
pre-check, clear plus.
That's right.
Clear
I'm
plus,
plus,
advanced.
Global entry.
Global
global
give
entry.
you both numbers at the
Yes.
same time and ask you which one gets me through faster.
Mhm.
Like I'm shaking up at the TSA thing, right? Get me through. But I do think that what that has done means it's kind of like the loss of public transportation. It's the loss of any public square. There are people experiencing this country now from a very myopic view, because we all do this. We extrapolate our everyday experiences and go, oh, that's how the world works. That's how the country works. Well, now some people's world actually works like an airport lounge where everything is smooth. And they're like, what do you mean? America's great. What are you talking about, right? But you know who always knows that things aren't great? The people who have to actually provide the customer service.
The people in retail.
That's exactly
the people on the other
right.
end of the phone when you have a complaint.
That's right. So I want people, before they go off to Wall Street and before they go off to be a financial consultant or this, that, or the other, right? I want them to understand that for the vast majority of people in this country, nothing works anymore, and this is why.
And so you mean everyone would have to do it, from the richest to the poorest?
Sorry, yes.
But poor people don't have time,
You know
Tressie.
why? Because I want them to work together. Well, they won't be doing other stuff. It's Job Corps.
Okay.
So you go,
So
we
this is
provide for you.
so this is like military service.
Yes!
But customer service.
That's right.
For how long?
Okay, that's a good question. How long before you understand just how lucky you are? Probably 6 months. You probably get it within 2 weeks. But I say this
That's
as somebody
too
who
short.
worked a lot of customer service jobs. So I might be more sensitive.
Okay.
So maybe up to a year.
And
I like
are you paid for it?
Yes, because I don't want to create like a permanent underclass with this. In fact, part of the point is people make money for this. And I need you to understand that shapes the whole thing,
So
right?
you're trying to close kind of the empathy gap in a way.
Yes.
And you want people to understand how frustrating it is to be in America.
And what they have been able to opt out of is not the majority of this country.
Okay. I will say there's one part of it that I really do like is I often say to people, so I'm in airports a lot. And I notice people who travel infrequently will have a very different attitude towards airport workers because for them, they don't understand how any of this isn't going according to plan.
Yeah.
And I'll often say to people who are even there having a meltdown, like I've been at a gate when the flight's canceled and I see people immediately go into meltdown mode. And sometimes I'll say to anyone who's around me, I go like, hey, don't waste your time. Let's just go rebook. Trust me, just go rebook. You're wasting your time because you're going after the face of the problem who has nothing to do with the problem.
Yep.
They don't know when the plane's coming. They can't clean the plane. They can't fix the plane. They can't do anything. They've just been told to tell you and then they bear the brunt of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're not the one who's making your ticket not work. So I do like that side of it. The question I have, though, is, because you say everyone does it. And is it like every front-facing job? So we're talking, I'll list a few jobs and you let me know if this includes them. Waiter.
Yes,
Okay.
in fact, very much so.
TSA agent?
Yes.
Okay. Airport booking, like at the front desk at a hotel?
Yes, that was actually mine.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was one of yours.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's one I thought of first, by the way. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else would...
Anybody who answers the phone when you dial
so
1-800,
call center agents
centers are involved. Let me tell you who's not included, because I did think about this, by the way. Because we call a lot of stuff service now that's not customer service. So there's like, personal finance service. There's bank service. Anything that where the customer service job is conditioned on the people have already cleared cleared a high level of status to even be there. I'm not going to include. I
Got
don't
it.
want you
Okay.
providing customer service just to rich
So-
people or even just to only poor people.
Okay.
Because one of the benefits to me of this is that there are very few places anymore where you get a cross section of Americans.
So they'll
Okay.
work at the DMV.
Yes.
What about hairdressers? Because I have a good friend, Vernon, who's an incredible
Oh no,
hairdresser.
because we can't have people out here just messing folks' heads up. Now, I'm not trying to run no kind of like.
Tressie's like,
Oh,
what I was going to say, I have
no. That is
Oh, wow.
skill
Okay.
based.
What I was going to say, I have a friend called Vernon Francois, who's an amazing celebrity hairstylist, but he
Yeah.
has like lots of clients who aren't celebrities. And he said something to me interesting. He was like, I'm in service work.
That's right.
He's like, I use my body.
Yes.
And he's like, people don't think of it as a physical,
Yes, yes.
laborious job.
Yeah.
I use my body and I'm very attuned to the client's emotions.
That's
Yes.
And so whatever the client is, I have to be responsive to them. And when I leave work, I'm drained, even if it's somebody that I really enjoy. And I never thought about his work. So I think that's like especially since a lot of women are in the beauty industry and like
strong agree.
like nails.
Yeah. But I will say
Yeah.
this though, to Tressie's point, there's a level of reverence we have for hair people because they can destroy our lives.
That is
No,
correct.
the hairdressers will not say that. They would say that we treat them badly, and
Really?
that's why they
I
would
would've-
demand a deposit.
Listen,
that's why
I would agree. I would agree
Okay.
that they would say that, and I actually also would agree that there's a coarsening of the people and how
Yeah.
they interact with service providers. I would also say that if you gave most people a shot at working at a Supercuts, which coincidentally, one of my former jobs was training the people who work at I had so many jobs, y'all. And it was at the Supercuts. So I've seen it as opposed to saying, hey, go work the front desk at the rental car agency. They would take the abuse at the hair cuttery every day. You know why?
Wow.
Because to Trevor's point, at the end of the day, however, you need your hair cut.
Yes.
There is an intimacy to
Yes.
the
That's
interaction.
Okay.
There's no intimacy
So I'm
in
just
these
trying
others. But
to
yeah.
understand
Okay, so
what
hairdressers
type of
not
skill or
involved.
service.
Yeah, because you need a skill to
But-
deliver
but
it
it's-
well.
okay.
If delivering the customer service requires a certain amount of skilled training to do it, like you do need to know, like that you need to know the technique
Okay.
of cutting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
We can get most Americans based on just their everyday skills to answer a phone
Okay.
and to push a button on the
Okay.
computer.
You're talking about like administrative.
Front facing, I would say front facing, front line customer service,
Yes.
where you have to get something you need, and it would be really hard for you to get it any other kind
Tracy,
of way.
can I tell you my concern?
Yes, that
'Cause
you're going to
unlike-
have to work one of them.
No, let me tell you something. One of my first jobs, I worked in Alders in Croydon, and I was retail. It was my Saturday's job. I was paid like maybe £3-4 an
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
Taught me so much about
What
life.
is Alders? What is
Alders
a-
was like sadly RIP. It was a department store.
Okay,
in
like
South
a Macy's
London.
type thing.
Yeah, not that fancy, but it was like a
You
department
clearly
store.
haven't been to Macy's recently.
Oh, Trevor.
You are not wrong, but oh, that hurt.
Yeah, it was a Saturday job. I had my uniform, and my
Yeah.
friends worked across the street at House of Fraser, which was fancier department store. So I've worked retail, and
But you see what you said, what it taught you?
yeah, it taught me a lot. I mean, this is the thing. I remember one a distinct experience of a customer who was really cruel to me in the way she spoke to me.
Oh,
Because
wow.
like, there's always people make an assumption about retail girls, especially when they look a bit young.
Yep.
Some people think this is going to be your job for the next 30 years. Even that, to me, shouldn't define how you treat them or whatever. And I remember feeling like very dehumanized in that moment. And I was just like, I will never speak to somebody working in retail like this. So whenever there's a sales associate, I try and make friends with them. Of course, they give you the good bags as well.
Yeah.
But what I knew about that interaction, though, there's a version of me that means I would want revenge. And when I'm on the other side of it,
You're back to human nature.
I'm going to treat people badly. And my fear is
Yeah.
for a lot of people, when they have the power, when they've come out of job corps and they no
Yeah.
longer are on the,
Yep.
the person servicing, they're going to go around and they're going to treat people badly because they were treated badly.
Yes.
So how do we, I think
agree.
you're assuming people are going to learn the
you
right
going
lesson.
with the hurt people,
I was
people.
about to
people,
say,
which I see a lot.
I actually don't. I actually believe that human nature is a thing too,
Yeah.
and I don't think we can solve for every psychologically harmed person. What I do think, and again, thought this one through, is yes, people will come out of there saying, see, the people who do this are just as stupid as I thought. Oh my God, I'm so glad to be back to my inheritance and my good life. I'm out of it, right? But those people also were never going to behave well anyway,
Okay.
right? I do think you're going to have a part of the population where that's not going to work. But I do think that when we talk about this pulling apart from each other, which I don't romanticize that. We were never a cohesive culture or society, but the intimacy of our daily interactions increase the risk of us acting badly in certain ways. And I think that when we have lost that, we don't have to take the train together. We don't have to sit in the park together. We don't have to sit. When people can consistently buy themselves out of the public square to just get the stuff they need, I can live on Amazon. I never have to interact with the public. I think it makes it really easy to dehumanize each other and to say my fates are not linked to yours in any way at all. And I think that for maybe not everybody, but I think for a soft majority of people, any kind of exposure to having to share space with people in a way where you can't use your pre-check, your clear, your app that gives you this fast line at the McDonald's. I mean, do you see how it's trickled down? I mean, there's now a special line for everybody everywhere at every level of interaction. And I don't think that has been good for us.
But wait. Help me understand this. How would that solve that part? Because if everyone's in the Job Corps, I still have my pre-check, don't I?
Yeah. Well, it solves it this way.
Yeah.
You now have to experience the exchange from the other side.
Okay.
You still have the power.
I was working.
That's
so at some
right.
point, I would know what it's like to be in the non-pre-check
That's
line.
exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I do like many elements of this, I will say. I think one of the things I like most is, to your point. Wait. Actually, let me ask this before I assume. Because remember, you said something that made me feel like you're allowing people to choose when it happens?
No, not when.
So when is this happening in their lives?
I think it's pretty much like military service. I think you get drafted up at somewhere between, your name goes in the big bucket somewhere between 18 and 21.
Don't you worry
that is.
Rich people will buy their way out?
Oh,
You can't. Remember, it's her system.
That's
so you
I have
get
the power.
You get exemptions.
No, it's her
because-
system.
That's right.
So no exemptions.
No. Well, because the thing about it is customer service, we got so many variety. There shouldn't be exemptions for bone spurs. There's not going to be
No, I'm with
because I
you.
can find you something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can answer the phone from anywhere. Yeah, I'm going to find you something.
Okay.
And I might even be the one assigning it. I haven't gone that far, but the more I think about it, the more I like that idea. But yes, you go into a draft.
This is me pitching for you to win my vote. Would you consider making it something that people have to go back and re-up after a certain amount of time? I only say this because...
you may lose me there or...
I'll tell you why.
having to come back.
I'll tell you why.
It all came out.
Having to come back. Oh, no. Trevor, no.
Wait, I'll tell you why. I think when young people go into these lines of work, they process it differently. It's almost like a hobby-jobby thing.
I hear you.
So I've seen college kids / high school kids working at a place where something doesn't work. Even if someone's berating them, these kids are just whatever. They're because they get shouted at by teachers and parents and whatnot.
This is a good point.
They go they don't even think of this as being part of their lives, is what I think a lot of the time. Now, I'm not saying it's good to treat them that way, but I've noticed a lot of them have a very water off my backish vibe versus an adult who is being berated as if they are a child. Because I think there's an overlap between how people treat young people.
Okay, so this is an
how
interesting
people...
status
I
distinction. You got me on this one. I like this.
I have a pitch. Make it like Teach for America. Teach for America is the thing where they get these kids that are probably going to work at McKinsey at some point, and you go and work in a public school. But you have to have a degree first to get the job to be a teacher. If it's like Teach for America, when you finish college or make it a bit older. So you do it around...
You can pitch yours. I'm telling you my one. I'm just asking if you would be willing to consider a re-up.
Okay, so here's what
I'll tell you why a re-up.
It could be a conditioned re-up.
If you do the re-up, you may lose me, Tressie.
I'm just asking.
This is democracy now.
See, y'all are putting me in
got
this
Christiana
position.
and she's...
I'm just let me tell you why, Christiana, because I do think it's invaluable for a young person to go into a space where they work in a front-facing service job, whether it's waiting tables, whether it's picking up calls, whatever it is. I do think that's good for them to interact with people and to understand this from that side. However, when you are young, you're so predisposed to sort of doing that because that's where society puts you anyway. Hey, can you grab me something from the thing? Hey, pick up that thing for me. Hey, so you're almost already in a service job for the most part,
Trevor,
culturally.
I'll counter. Gen Z are are the generation that haven't had to do that thing that we did.
Okay.
Like a lot of Gen Zers have never did Saturday jobs and stuff like that.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying remove it. I'm saying I just would
you
love
want
to know
a 42-year-old
yes,
who has
because
had
for
a
me,
management
guys,
job.
that's what I mean. I'll
I
tell
got
you why.
3 kids,
Yeah,
and
you
you
want
people want me to
Christiana.
wait.
But remember,
No.
okay, but I'm assuming, Tressie, in your world, there's already childcare. There's already all these, because she's worried about time with her kids and her kids. You said you got 3 kids. I'm assuming in Tressie's magical world, there's childcare, healthcare,
so
all
listen,
of that.
I have built a feminist economy.
Well, there you go.
Okay. We
So this
we
is
are,
Okay.
we are skilling up
pulling me
and
back. You're
providing
pulling
for
me back.
social reproduction in any world where I'm in charge.
Do you know why I like your addition to it?
Yes.
Because the thing that's drawing me to Tressie's idea is that you're saying that nobody is above service.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
And you're saying,
I'm
that
saying-
I don't care if you've gone out and worked in the
That's what
you
I
can
mean.
come to this thing again.
Yes.
Which I agree. I'm like, yeah.
Yes,
okay.
because in what we've spoken about before, I think sometimes people don't think of it as a problem that needs to be solved. They think of it as a problem that they need to escape.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's the issue
Yeah.
that I
There
have.
you go. Thank you.
You see?
That's why I left England.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So we live in a world where people don't say, man, this neighborhood
Yeah.
sucks. We've got to fix it. They go, this neighborhood sucks. I got to get
Get
out.
out.
Yeah.
That's what
it.
people
True.
say. And then I go, like, I even feel like that with Americans. Whenever an election doesn't go the way they want, they go, I'm leaving this country.
Yeah.
And then I'll often say to them, I'll go, yo, first of all, what a crazy privilege you have that you think you can just like go anywhere in the world whenever you want to because it's not going the way you like, right? But also, where's your gusto to say, that's terrible. I'm going to try to be part of fixing it.
Yeah. I understand.
Like, because then otherwise you just become like the those people who drive and throw trash out of their car everywhere. Because that's all you're doing. I don't like this, throw it away. I don't like this, throw it away. No, but where are you in fixing it? So the reason I want people to re-up, the way I'm asking, because I don't run this world, you do. I'm just asking this as a citizen of your world. Is because I think it would be nice for people to be reminded of the fact that they don't get out of it. They're just lucky enough to not be experiencing that part of it. So now you're a CEO.
Yes.
You're a top banking whatever.
Oh,
you're
I love
retired.
this.
You're whatever it might be. And at different stages of your life, you're re-upping the experience that you will process differently because of your status in life.
Oh, I like this because then people in the job call will be like intergenerational because then you'd actually have
Which I do think is hugely important.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to say something I rarely say, Trevor. You have improved upon my idea. This is
not
amazing.
a man. Not a man.
God. Here's what you know. There's a man at home right now who is very jealous of you. And he's like, what?
Tressie.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Yes.
Can we vote?
So voting.
Emphatically, yes.
Okay.
1,000,000% yes.
Thank you. I won.
This is like a miracle.
Wow.
I don't think we've had this before.
Wow, I didn't think it would end with that line.
I won. We're like
It's not a
service.
competition.
We were in service.
God.
Tressie she
like
roped
I
us in
won.
with like,
I know.
and you know, as humans, and don't forget, and as people, and as soon as we gave her the vote, she was like, ha ha.
That's why she has the genius grant, right?
Yep.
MacArthur over
Well,
here.
You know what? If you winning means we get to live in that world, I will take it.
I like it.
Thanks, y'all.
Congratulations. Your
Tressie.
first attempt and a win.
I feel amazing.
That's great.
Because if
Damn.
I can
Tough crowd,
convince the two, that's what
especially me.
I'm saying. If I can convince the two of you,
I think it's
Getting us to
can I be honest with you?
impossible.
I think it is actually an amazing idea that isn't hard to
Thank you.
implement.
it really actually
And I
isn't,
think
no.
the upsides of it, I didn't even consider what you're saying about intergenerational.
Yes.
Just old people having to work with young people and
Yes.
then women with men in ways that they wouldn't necessarily, because now you also we have like gendered jobs.
Yeah.
Right.
It'd be so great that it's not a gendered job.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you just have
It was
people,
just your number came up.
and it would be
Yeah.
nice for, and we talk about this all the time, what universities I think have lost because of how much money has defined university. We have fewer and fewer places and spaces where people of different class groups get to mix
Yes.
And political
and mix
backgrounds,
organically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how nice would it be to have the heir of a billionaire
Yep.
working at the Southwest counter with somebody who comes from the inner city?
Yeah.
And they could
Them
get
being-
married.
Yeah, they could be. And this is true.
That's the fear, by the way. This is the fear. Right. So for
Oh.
people, when you say this thing that sounds perfectly logical and it's amazing and all of our values are embedded in it, why wouldn't you be in favor of this? Honestly, it's that. Like I invested in a kid who should be able to like
Oh,
go on
yes,
and inherit
yes,
and da-da-da,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
you are gonna put them
Oh, wow.
beside the cute poor kid.
Oh, wow.
Anything could happen.
Oh.
But that's my point. Anything
It's
could
the
happen.
villain. It's the villain in every Disney movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's why I like it. Anything could happen.
I love it.
Well, Tressie, the genius and the winner. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you
part.
so much for joining us.
Thanks.
And
yeah.
that really was great. That gave me a lot to think about. Thank you. What Now with Trevor Noah is produced by Spotify Studios in partnership with Day Zero Productions. The show is executive produced by Trevor Noah, Sanaz Yamin, and Jody Avagan. Our senior producer is Jess Hackle. Claire Slaughter is our producer. Music, mixing, and mastering by Hannes Brown. Thank you so much for listening. Join me next Thursday for another episode of What Now?